Hello, everybody. I'm Kim.
And I'm Andy.
And together we are the I Wonder Sisters.
Yay!
Yay! And today is Love and Libations. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
So this is our Thursday show. And on Thursdays, Love and Libations is a chat, as I explained before. And we share things that Auntie and I talk about during our coffee time in the mornings and throughout various times of the day whenever things come up and we just want to kind of bounce them off of each other or just share a story about someone and things that we might be wondering about. And so that's what Thursdays is. So it's don't expect for it to be so organized and everything. We might have a few rants in there too. So we want to say welcome. But today we do have a topic, and it's about running away from your pain and different ways that people run away from their pain, emotional pain, anguish through different methods that really, instead of the methods becoming a support system, they become more of a crutch. And then you never, ever, ever come to grips and learn how to live with pain, because not all pain goes away.
Well, some of these crutches are really escapes from the pain. They're ways to run away from it and not feel it at all. And also, it's a way to put responsibility for your pain sort of outside yourself, so that you're not taking it on, you're not addressing it, you're not owning it.
Yeah. And and explain a little bit, Auntie, by what you mean when you say that, because there are some people that would say, like playing devil's advocate, they would say, well, it is his fault. It is her fault. It is their fault. It's my family's fault. It's the bank's fault. It's this fault. It's this fault. And so why is it not an outward thing? Why shouldn't I carry it? Why do I have anything to do with it? I mean, I know many of those answers, but what if people are saying that out there? Well, if it's pain, then it's caused by somebody or something. And so do I have the right to be angry at somebody or something or some situation and still be able to help heal myself and be able to live more happily?
Well, I mean, pain is an interesting thing, emotional pain. And yes, it can be caused by outside sources, by another person, by a situation. But ultimately, we have to own the pain that's caused. And we have to let go of the situation and the other person because they're responsible for themselves. We're not responsible for them. And when you feel pain over something or someone, you can't, if you start blaming, then you're not taking responsibility for your healing. And ultimately, that's the whole purpose of feeling pain in the first place, is to heal yourself.
I'm trying. I'm trying to pick up our other dog, Maxie Doodle, and he's so heavy. He's just a thickster, he's a thickster. And so I can't get in the right position to get him. So sorry, that's what all this was. But I'm gonna do my best. But yeah, it may be, oh my God.
Blame is too easy.
Yeah.
And when you start blaming other things and other people, you're not owning your own pain, because the pain belongs to you, not the other person, not the situation or the people that cause the situation. And in order to work through that pain and to heal yourself, you have to take responsibility for it. You can't say somebody did this to me. Perhaps they did, but in the end, it's your reaction to their action that counts, not what they did to you.
Okay. And it's very similar to um the feeling of, or the process I should say, of forgiveness as well, because once something has happened, and I'm speaking as a person who can sit down, if I get deep down into my ego, I can sit down and write down a whole list of names and what they did to me. Honestly, it will be a long list. But what does that do now for me after all of that has already happened? And these people, I'm for sure, have moved on. Okay. And the thing that I was saying to Andy the other day is I have come far enough in my spiritual work that I now can clearly understand and say with all honesty, I get it. It was not about me. It
Right.
wasn't. It wasn't. They didn't wait on me to come along before they started acting like an asshole. Okay. People are who they are. They do what they do. And it's not about you, it's about them and who they are. And so they're probably, as you're sitting around stewing in the anger and in the pain and the disappointment, they have moved on and they're still functioning the same way that they've always been functioning before you came along, and they will continue to do that afterwards.
Yeah.
So there was a time when I did take it very personally, which actually was what triggered most of the pain.
Yeah.
It was like, Kim, what did you do to deserve that? What did you do to them? I don't remember doing anything like that to them. Going through all these different questions when in reality, I was dealing with a lot of people who were already in their own pain. Okay, a lot of them were deep in their own pain. And so there was no way they could be good to me if they didn't feel they deserved to be good to themselves. And I clearly get that now. And it doesn't mean I forget what I feel, how I feel they've injured me. Okay. But it is how I feel that they have injured me. And they may not be thinking that way at all, or they may not have even meant it that way. But it took me a long time to come to that. But when I did come to it, it was very freeing. It was very freeing that now the work is mine. Because as Andy said, what am I going to make them do? I don't have the right to make them do anything. And I certainly cannot make them change. I can only change how I feel about what they did.
I think also we have to remember that we all carry pain inside us, unresolved pain, unworked through pain, pain that we haven't owned, pain that we haven't taken responsibility for. And very frequently, when someone does something that you think is done to you, what it does is trigger pain that's already inside you. And um, and so you start experiencing stuff that you should have let go of a long time ago. Um, and I mean, I don't think you can be caused pain unless there's pain already there. That's my feeling.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, I think that all of us hold certain triggers within us.
Mm-hmm.
And so what an action that could deeply bother me to the point where I will feel like I'm never going to forget it may be the same thing that happens to somebody else, and they just keep it moving.
Right. Right.
Because they don't have the same trigger inside. They don't have that same switch that was switched on when that particular thing happened. They may have some other trigger, okay, that they'll fall into a situation in which their switch is turned on, and then all of a sudden that old pain, very familiar pain, will start to like come alive again, even though it's another situation with another person, all about another thing.
Right. Right.
Like Andy said, it really is a very deep thing. And so you can live your life happily You don't have to, even when you think about these things, and you will think about them, even when something makes you think about what someone's done to you, how someone's hurt you, you don't have to just pack it up in a suitcase and tote it around all day. You really don't. In Buddhism, uh, my Buddhist teacher many years ago, along with many other Buddhist teachers that were there at the temple, they would say that it's your choice to suffer from your pain, okay? Because pain and suffering from it are two different things. So they would say it's your choice to suffer from the pain. And you can suffer for 7 hours, you can suffer for 7 days, it can be 7 weeks, it can be 7 months, and it can be 7 years. It's up to you how much time you allow yourself to suffer. They're not asking you to deny the pain. The pain is real, and they're not saying that the pain is not real, but you're suffering, you're carrying it, you're toting it around everywhere with you every day, every week, every activity you're involved in is still always about this pain. That is your choice.
Right.
You're the suffering part of it is your choice, no matter what it is. Because there are some people I know that have gone through some very horrific things, and yet one of them takes it and decides that they're going to, do some type of work that's going to help to heal them and heal others. And then there are some people that completely lose their minds, literally. And it'll be the same thing that happened to two different people, but one of them chooses to deal with the pain by doing something for somebody else, and the other one chooses to suffer from that pain, to stay inside, to seclude themselves, to be angry at people that they don't know, to be angry at themselves. So there is a big difference, if you've never heard of that before, between actually dealing with pain, living with pain. Pain is your truth, but you do not have to suffer every day, all day over it.
Yeah. Sometimes people who suffer from a great deal of pain, who suffer from it, are people that are so used to being miserable that the alternative is too unfamiliar to entertain. Um, we both know someone who is in great pain and distress because her family has abandoned her. And she carries so much misery inside her that, and she's lived with it for so long and talked about it so much and been with it for so long, that any alternative is almost out of the question for her, because she wouldn't know who she was then.
Yeah.
You begin to define yourself by your feelings. And if you're feeling pain, then pain defines you. And if you're one of those people, and you you can't really make a person deal with their pain in a way that is constructive and healing if they're stuck in something familiar that is almost comfortable because it's so familiar.
Yeah, exactly. And the person also has chosen to take on um, a mind changing program. I won't say what it is because I don't want to disrespect anybody that has found some relief within this program. However, they've taken it on, and it has seemed to only cause more and more suffering, more and more depression, you know, um, because this particular program is offering to her the opportunity to say that nothing is real. No, my family didn't leave me. No, my kids did not say I wasn't a good mother. No, my grandchildren were not taken away from me. Why? Even though in my reality right now, in my human reality, these things are true, However, nothing is real. So therefore, it really isn't real. So I can be happy. And then the next day, she's back into a depression. Why? Because she hasn't really dealt with the beginning, the core of why all of this stuff even started to happen. So that's why we say that there's so many times that spiritual formats, religious formats can cause you to use them as a crutch instead of a support, instead of work that is actually helping you get to the nitty gritty, like the real core of your pain and whatever happened, helping you go back to that place and really seeing yourself, who was I when all of this happened, when everybody decided that they were going to separate from me, who was I? But instead, there are too many things out here that are teaching people that nothing is real, nothing is real. We're in the matrix. It really didn't happen. Now, listen, those of us who are even slightly awake, okay, we understand that we are in the matrix. Okay, we get that. We get that this is not the life and the part of us that is eternal. We get that. Okay, but to use that to say nothing is real, it doesn't stop us from having to pay our bills, from having to keep a roof over top of our heads, from having to eat, from having to have lights on, computers, and all these different things. None of that stops, and nothing that we have to pay for that we need in this human reality right now is going to change. Okay, because we just say, oh, it's not really real. In the definition of eternal realness, we know that nothing is real in that eternal way. And we know which part of us is real. Okay. But to walk around in your human existence, in your human reality, and then every time some pain comes up, some disappointment comes up, some hurt comes up, you say, oh, well, I'm not going to feel this. No, I just forgot nothing is real. But you really didn't forget.
What happens when you latch onto something like that, be it religion, um, a, a self
Even new age
healing,
stuff.
even new age, yes, sometimes especially new age stuff, um, drugs, alcohol, anything that you can use as an escape. Um, that's what happens to you. You escape into something else so that you don't have to feel how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is so self destructive. It's more self destructive than the escape itself. Um, if you don't feel your feelings, you're numb to something that's quite wonderful in its way. And even pain and suffering have their purpose. They tell us that something is amiss,
Yeah.
that something is wrong, that there's something we need to look at and be mindful of. Um, I'm not saying that you have to think about this 24/7, but it's you that you have to search out, not something outside yourself that's going to give you temporary relief and a reason to excuse
Yes.
your pain.
Yes. It simply doesn't work. I mean, I've watched this person that we're talking about, and also so many other people say, oh, I'm so happy today. I realize that nothing is real. It's not as I see it. It's just not real. There's a soul, and within me or outside of me, or I'm inside of it, however they want to put it, that's eternal and does not see this in the same way. Yes, all of that is true. But the fact is that if you've ever watched Andy and I, and if you've ever read anything on our blog, you know that we're about the human experience and treating it as it exists right now. Okay, we know that there's going to be a time when we're not going to be here in this human experience. Okay, we don't know everything about what comes afterwards, but what we do know is the things that we have to deal with while we're in this flesh and blood on this third dimension. Okay, so yes, it is real. It may not be capital R real, and which meaning for me is eternally real. Like it
Right.
never changes,
Right.
like your soul, it never changes, and it was never born, it will never die. But here, the soap opera, the drama that we go through here is for a purpose. Okay, or we wouldn't be here. I mean, look how intricately beautiful and rotten this planet is at the same time. It's complicated, yet it's simple. It's beautiful, yet it's ugly. This is a real serious game. Like this Matrix thing is like real serious. We're in virtual reality, like we are in it, and so while we're in it, we believe that we should function as if though we are in it, but instead try to gather tools, emotional, mental tools that will help us to be able to live this life with whatever comes with it in a more peaceful, in a more tranquil, in a more wise and understanding way. Asking why did this happen instead of why did it happen to me? This is a part of the experience that we are in right now. And I personally don't trust anything that tells you to ignore everything about your life that is a part of the human experience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Kim and I write very often about dealing with the human experience and being in a body and having thoughts and having feelings. And we're moving Chloe because she's going to sit on the computer.
I'm sorry, but she's also on. I can't. Okay, it's up here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We're looking at the time. Sorry.
We just want to be mindful of how long we're going on. Hello. We're back.
We're back. It doesn't look like it interrupted anything, but she's gonna have to move.
Yeah.
Andy and I have had too many technological mishaps over the past year, and it's really it unnerved us to the point where we were like, maybe we're not supposed to be doing this. So I'm sorry, Chloe, but you're gonna have to move from that spot.
Okay, she's fine now.
Okay.
Kim and I have written a great deal about the human experience and living in bodies and having to deal with something that's finite and measurable, unlike what Kim said, the eternal part of our being. And we talk a lot about honoring everything that goes on in this human experience while you're in it. And if you don't do that, you're denying a huge part of your existence, the eternal part and the finite part.
Exactly. And be careful about trusting other things more than you trust yourself, and more than you trust your intuition and your feelings, and more than you trust your emotions. I mean, it's just like they say when we hurt ourselves physically, that pain signifies that, hey, okay, just in case you didn't know it, there's something wrong. That's what physical pain is for. It tells you that, yes, you just slammed your hand inside the door. Okay. So address it, look at it, see whether it's really okay or it's really not. And you need help from that. And it's no different with our spirits and our emotions, how we feel about things that have happened to us in life. The pain is there to let you know that, yes, this still hurts. Yes, maybe there's something more you need to do for yourself. Yes, maybe you do need some help with this. Yes, this will probably go on with you forever, but it doesn't mean that you cannot be happy. It doesn't mean that every time you have the familiar feeling of pain that you have to run with it all day long. It doesn't mean that. And so we just want to say be careful about what you're reading in these mind changing programs and all different names that they all have. Just be careful and don't allow them to become your own guide when you have a guide, and that guide is within you always, every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it lets you know when things are unfinished, you know, and you get a feeling of peace, you know, as they say, peace without understanding. When once it's truly been healed and you have an understanding of it, that's a spiritual understanding and an emotional understanding, and so it doesn't have to cause you to suffer from it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. I had a very difficult upbringing, and my mother was very difficult with me. And for a very long time, I hated her because I knew she hated me too. And I I knew that forgiveness was going to be the only way out for me. And so I worked on it. I meditated on it. I wrote about it, all that stuff. And nothing ever came of that. I still couldn't forgive her. I still hung on to the anger and the grief she caused me. And only recently have I realized that the only way I can let go of that pain is to let go of my mother, to let her go into the light wherever she's going to be, and not continue to blame her for something that's inside of me now that she has no longer anything to do with.
Yeah.
It's not her fault. She did the best she could with what she knew, and
Which was very little that she knew too. You know, my father was like that. He knew very little about nurturing, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So sometimes, you know, listen, sometimes what people give us, it's not, we're not giving them an excuse by saying they did the best that they could or they did what they knew. We're only giving you the truth about the situation, because a person cannot give what they did not ever receive.
right.
They will not know how to reach out and give that type of love and give that type of nurturing if that's something that they never had.
And my mother never had it. She
Yeah.
had a much worse childhood than I ever did.
Yeah.
And so she didn't have it to give because it wasn't given to her.
Yeah, it just wasn't there, you know, and she was not in awareness at that point to even see that. You know, if it were meant for her to still be here and become aware, things would be different.
Mm-hmm.
But as she has passed on, as my father has also passed on, as Andy said, you know, these are things now we need to learn how to give to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, okay, we want to say thank you. It's almost a half hour up. There's a maxi doodle. Drives me nuts.
And there's a Chloe, the matron canine.
We thank you guys so much in sharing and love and libations with us. We'll see you on Sunday. Now, Love and Libations is uploaded. I uploaded in the evening on Thursday. So let's say about 6 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 5 Pacific.
Yes,
Yes.
5 Pacific and 8 Eastern.
Eastern time. So yes, and so we'll see you on Sunday. And Sunday is Goddess series part 3. We will introduce you to 2 more goddesses, or reintroduce you to them. So we thank you guys so much, and we wish the rest of your week to be beautiful. And also Sunday's Christmas. So happy holidays, happy
Yes.
Kwanzaa. You know, what am I forgetting? Happy Hanukkah. Is it Hanukkah? Did it start?
Oh, it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I'm not a good Jew.
So happy holidays, okay? And we wish you guys all the best, and hope to see you on Sunday. And I know it's Christmas time. However, we're still going to do our goddess series unless Andy doesn't want to.
No, of course I do.
So we'll do that. And then, maybe we'll wait and we'll upload it on Monday for you. So anybody, enjoy yourself anyway. Enjoy the kids. Oh, and 8 seconds to go. All right. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.